How you doing? This is Todd Hodge from Team Losi Racing, where I am the category manager. And today I'm going to tell you about an exciting new product we have coming out, the Team Losi Racing tuning kit for the Losi 5T. So here at Team Losi Racing, obviously our focus is improving the vehicle's performance. And a lot of times, as a lot of people have seen in the past, we've actually taken cars that were from the Losi brand and made tuning kits to kind of bring them up to the TLR standards that we like to race with every day. And we do anything from putting hard anodized parts on the car, better coating on the shock shafts, improved suspension packages, and we obviously saw that on like the XXX SCT tuning kit and the 10 SCTE tuning kit, which both did really well, and the racers out there really appreciated us doing that. So as we've learned more about the Losi 5T and racing it more often, we realized there's a lot of improvements that we can make to it. And how could we actually put all of those improvements in one package? And we did that with the, as I said before, the TLR tuning kit for the 5T. And right now I'm going to tell you a little bit about what it includes. All right, so to tell you a little bit more about the Team Losi Racing tuning kit for the 5T, I'm going to get into a little bit of the nuts and bolts. So starting with the hinge pins. So the vehicle comes out of the box with no coating on the hinge pins. Well, at TLR, as you've seen with a lot of our 22 2.0s, even our 22.4, our 8 3.0, we came up with a new coating for the shock shafts and the hinge pins called titanium carbonitride. It's definitely a lot different than the older stuff we ran, which was the titanium nitride, which was the goldish color stuff. And while it worked for a little while, the coating eventually wore off and your suspension wasn't as free. It squeaked more, your shocks didn't work as well. So now we have the more, like, I guess, called the gunmetal color, which is the titanium carbonitride, which we've yet to wear any of these parts out on the suspension or on the shock shafts. So getting a little deeper into the vehicle, the 5T actually comes with the 4mm silver sway bars. Well, with the tuning kit, we give you the extra options for the front and rear gold sway bar, which is a 4.5mm, and then the black sway bar, which is the 3.5mm. So it gives you a little bit more tuning option for on the track. Obviously if you're running on a higher grip track, you're going to want to run the thicker sway bars. If you're on a lower grip track, need to produce a little bit more traction out of the suspension, you run the thinner sway bars. Going into the shocks a little bit, I know I touched on those with the shock shafts, but another big thing that we improved was the shock body and the shock caps. Now, standard on the 5T is just basically a raw aluminum shock body. While that is good, the hard anodized bodies are actually considerably better. And when I say they're considerably better, the reason they're better is because with them being hard anodized, you get a lot smoother action out of the shocks. You'll probably see in your 5T after you run it for a while, the inside of the shock body getting a little worn from where the shock shaft twists in there and the piston rides and starts hitting on the inside of the body. Well, with these new hard anodized bodies, you won't see that, and you actually have a considerable amount of better wear, actually no wear. So going into the next detail, we have the hard anodized shock caps. Again, on the 5T, we have the blue ones. These are just hard anodized. Again, a little bit more durable, not that we wear these out too much, but just to match the hard anodized shock body, and they have the really cool TLR laser etching. So kind of moving into some of the other things, talking about the steering, we have the aluminum servo top. For us in the 8 scale, everybody runs this part. The beauty about having this in aluminum is the fact that once you start running your vehicle after a considerable amount of time, you basically start gulling up the Servo Saver with the plastic part. So the two parts become gulling up because of the dirt getting in there, and it basically acts like sandpaper. But with the aluminum part, you won't get that. And you get the added durability. So you actually have a Servo Saver that works a lot longer, won't need serviced as much, and ultimately has more durability because it's aluminum. So another huge item that we found on the Losi 5T was the overall weight. When we came out with the truck, we really weren't intending to race it hardcore, but racers that we are, it's in our blood, it's in our DNA. We started playing with the truck and trying to figure out ways to take weight out of it. So we started coming up and developing some of the parts, which you can buy on the market now, but we're putting them in the kit. And those are like the aluminum axles, which are basically 50% lighter than the steel axles. And then we also have the light and out drives, which come in the TLR tuning kit for the front and rear. And then the aluminum couplers, So the one in my left hand is a steel coupler, and the one in my right hand is an aluminum one. Again, just totally improves the acceleration of the vehicle. Going into the rear gearbox, stock, the vehicle comes with the powdered metal bearing inserts, which they are good. They work fine, but again, very heavy. So in the TLR tuning kit, we have the aluminum ones. Hard anodized, super durable, just as durable as these ones, but much lighter. So going in kind of back into the shock area of the truck comes with basically the steel shock mounts. In the tuning kit, we have the titanium parts. Again, about 50% lighter over the stock shock mounts. And probably one of the biggest things on the vehicle that really affect the suspension and the weight of the suspension, overall weight of the truck, are the steel turnbuckles. You can just feel the weight of the steel ones in your hand versus the titanium turnbuckles. Again, durability is not compromised. Titanium is ultimately just as strong as steel, but about 50% lighter as a total. So again, therefore saving a lot of weight on your car. Now, I've been talking a lot about weight in the vehicle, and you're probably asking yourselves, well, how much weight does this really save my 5T? Well, after we put it all in the vehicle, we weighed all the parts separately, we're looking at about a 350 gram difference. For those of you who don't really like the metric system, that equates to about 12 ounces of weight out of your 5T. Now, what's that going to do for you? It's going to do a crazy amount of things. I mean, it's going to basically improve your acceleration, improve your bump handling, and ultimately just make your truck handle all around better. So to kind of go back into the shocks, I know I talked about those a little bit earlier. So we have the hard anodized shock body and the shock cap. One thing I forgot to mention are the red springs that we're also including. Now the red springs over the blue springs, for the hardcore racers out there, you already know what they are. They are the stiffer set of springs with the red over the blue. So we are including one pair of front and one pair of rear springs in the Team Losi Racing 5T tuning kit. And another thing we changed up on the vehicle a little bit too is you can see the air filter cover and the starter cover. With the vehicle coming in the stock configuration, those are essentially black. Well, to kind of signify that you're TLR tuned, we made these blue. Nothing's changed about the part other than the color. All right, so I'm going to basically just take the box here and go in, just kind of tear it open and just show you what you get in the TLR tuning kit. So you kind of open it up. We'll just start taking the parts out. So here you have a set of rear shock bodies, hard anodized, a set of front shock bodies, hard anodized. We got 4 aluminum hard anodized axles, as well as the 2 couplers, the coupler for the front and the rear. We have 2 sets of lightweight outdrives. We have the aluminum rear bearing insert and Servo Saver mount. And we have the 4 aluminum hard anodized shock caps. So I just got done telling you about the air filter cover and the starter cover, blue. Just kind of change it up a little bit to show your TLR tuned out on the track. Also talked about the red springs. Again, just 1 step stiffer over the blue springs. And then going into the hinge pins, these aren't titanium, they are still steel, but they are the titanium carbonitride. So you're never going to wear these out unless you bend one, which rarely anybody ever does, but it does happen from time to time. Again, no durability improvement here as far as the bending, it's just simply the coating and your suspension working much freer. The shock shafts, you get 4 shock shafts, 2 for the front, 2 for the rear. They are still steel, and they are titanium carbonitrided. And then you got the sway bars, 2 of the 4.5 millimeter and 2 of the 3.5 millimeter. The titanium shock mounts, 4 of those, and then your 6 titanium turnbuckles. So there you have it. That's the Team Losi Racing 5T tuning kit from Horizon Hobby.